Greetings from San Diego. Just finished an amazing week and a half. I had the privilege of participating and getting to help with an incredible healing and transformation workshop. So much stuff shifted for so many people. It was just incredible. I learned a lot myself, had a couple of my own moments. It's just really incredible what happens when you get around a group of people who are just really set on learning and growing, evolving, letting go of things and moving beyond. So I had the privilege of doing that, had a data reset, and then an in-depth retreat for a small group of us where I learned all kinds of stuff I'm super excited to implement and share once the time is right for that. At the moment though, what I am feeling the sharing of is something I've been working with for a bit now. And so there's this whole concept of mind, body, and spirit, following the gut, following the heart, using your head, all these things. And I think there's a convergence point where it really works out optimally. And what I've found for that is this idea of follow your gut, discern with your heart, and let your mind do the clerical work. Now, this is a survival machine. This has its own literal tiny brain. There's a cluster of I think it's like 40,000 neurons that operate independently of this. Has its own memory, its own data processing. The gut produces something like 70% of the neurotransmitters that let this function properly. There's different data processing at all levels. There's so much information that moves through our nervous system, which is a quantum computer. If you're not familiar with what that is, look it up. In short, if you think about a supercomputer, a quantum computer puts that to shame. That being said, that's what we're literally born into, a quantum computer suit, right? And that's what we got. So there's information that's being figured out at all these different levels. The waking mind can only handle something like 2% of that for the average person. And even for someone who's really worked to be advanced, it's not much more. It's just not built for that. It's built for figuring out surviving in a complex social hierarchy and living until tomorrow and planning around that kind of stuff. It's mostly a survival machine, and it's evolved to have more creative capacities and all this stuff, but its core program is keep this meat suit alive until tomorrow. Keep this meat suit's offspring alive until tomorrow. Keep things status quo so we know how to survive until tomorrow. That's really the default programming of the unconscious mind, and because of that, that's the default operations of the waking mind. It's always looking for, making sure things are safe, and then when we have moments where things are cool, then we kind of go more into pleasure seeking until there's a challenge, then boom, right back to survival, which is kind of like a lack state if you think about it. However, all that information that's not coming to here because it would just be too overwhelming is still being processed, and so our gut is processing, making us aware of, however you want to put it, a fair amount of that data. The same with the heart. So when you trust and follow your gut, let it lead you in the directions that are appropriate for you and not. Same with the heart from there. Hey, is this quite right for me? Does this sit well? Is this congruent? Great. Then let this take care of the clerical work. Let this say, okay, we can do this and this and this, make a strategy, a plan, get the fine details. And as long as this defers back to the gut and the heart, things work out. Because sometimes the gut will be like, hey, no. And this seems like such a rational, smart idea. But there's something that the systems process that we just haven't quite caught up to here. Same with the heart. Something's not going to be right for us. This hasn't caught up yet. And when we just trust the body to give us the data, we make better informed choices, which inevitably we end up finding out why. At some point we're like, oh, well, I'm glad I went with that. Or, man, I should have gone with that. Optimally, it's, man, I'm glad I went with it, right? So which is the point of sharing this. So trust your gut, follow your gut, discern with your heart. Let this take care of the clerical stuff. Let them work in harmony so you can exist congruently and have things work out for you as delightful, surprisingly better than expected. I didn't see that coming, but I'm good with it kind of ways. So I hope that adds some value to you. Looking forward to talking to you soon.